Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Marc Spiegler. Thank you for coming. It's great to have a full house. And I want to thank GL and Mark Fernandez and Steffi Czerny for everything they did to make this panel possible. We're going to talk today about what's often called immersive or experiential art. And I think what's very important to understand is this broader space. This immersive and experiential space is not something, it's not just a new movement with art. I think it ties to a development within society. You know, we talk a lot about this generational shift, this shift in all of us from being object-oriented to being experience-oriented. And we see it in every aspect of the economy. And so I think within the art world, this is where that sits, this notion that people don't want to just engage with an object, they want to be part of an experience. So, on that note, Saka, talk to us about the fact, beyond just being a collective, and quite a large collective, how TeamLab is different than artists as we traditionally imagine them, and how this journey that brought you to where you are now as a global collective.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Saka. Sorry, I asked for the microphone because, in Japan we really like karaoke, but it's difficult since, I've never been another artist, so it's difficult to speak for others. So I don't know, what is traditional. I'd love to speak more about this later. But in terms of us, so, oh yeah, we'll show you some videos in the back. But for 25 years now, we've been making as an art collective. And we have various specialists, so not just including artists, but also engineers, programmers, architects, mathematicians. All of these people with different specialties come together to create all of these spaces. And I know you said aside from being a collective, but I think what it means, not just as a descriptor, but what it means to make as a collective, I think, is something that I've been interested in throughout this time. And actually, when I first joined TeamLab, somebody said to me, you're going to be like walking up these mountains and walking through dirt, and it's going to get really messy. Are you sure you're okay with that? Great, awesome, perfect. And so what I have found, throughout these years and what I've come to really, firsthand understand and appreciate is that all of these people come together and everybody is making through their hands, using and moving their hands to create, and through that, making new discoveries, right? And then those discoveries, that knowledge is shared with the whole team. So these different specialties, everybody has their different backgrounds, but all of that knowledge is shared. And what is at the end of that is, saying, isn't continuity beautiful? And continuity is it's a large word, and often the feelings associated with it are difficult to describe through words. But so I came to Munich from Tokyo for this, and I often tell people, and I'm from Tokyo, but I actually I grew up in this ocean side a little bit farther away. And I used to live in this house right by the water, and there would be these huge storms, and the waves would reach the windows of the house, and once in a while, the entire first floor would get flooded. And sometimes it would be so serene and overlooking this really vast ocean and seeing the moon create these beautiful reflections. And it felt like all of that together was a part of that nature, and really feeling like, I was a part of it. And so this idea of continuity, of course, existed at TeamLab much longer before I became a part of it. But that feeling of, isn't continuity beautiful, isn't continuity itself beautiful, is something that we really want to express, and something that we will hopefully be able to show everybody by opening this museum, TeamLab Borderless in Hamburg. And so TeamLab Borderless, the one in Tokyo, opened in 2018, and we had been exhibiting artworks, exhibitions around that at Pace London and in Paris, a little bit before then as well. But this concept of, borderless, TeamLab Borderless, what that means is the artworks inside the museum have no boundaries. So artworks may start in one room, then move out of that room, and they will interact and, mingle with each other. They influence each other, and they're also influenced by the people and their presence and behaviors in that space. And it all comes together to create this one continuous borderless world. And so I don't know if this directly answers.
I think it does. It does in the sense that we know where it's coming from. And I want to go to Lars, and obviously you had an experience which led you to believe that after your other many entrepreneurial ventures, launching this museum in Hamburg was the great next thing to do. So maybe you can talk just a little bit about the experience that you had, and then why you chose to do Hamburg. Why did you chose to do this museum with TeamLab?
So who has actually seen TeamLab somewhere in the world?
Raise your hands, please.
Wow.
Okay, good.
So this talk is now for those who want to see TeamLab in Germany. So let me share a story. It was around 10 years ago, in 2016, in the Fondation Mac in the south of France. And this is this amazing art place where Picasso, Chagall, Jean Arp, Christo, and others exhibit. But they had a special exhibition about the future of museums. And there I saw the first piece of TeamLab. Back then it was monitor art and not just a big room. And I was fascinated. I was so deeply touched about this artwork, about the concept, about the artistic style, about the technology. I definitely fell in love. And to see, again, TeamLab, I had to travel to London at the Pace Gallery, as you mentioned. I flew to Helsinki to see the Amos Rex solar exhibition. And then someday I actually heard that TeamLab opening their own museum. So, and if you're in love, you travel far. So I took a plane and actually flew to you don't know it. So I flew to Tokyo. It was just 2018, just right after the opening. And I've seen like tons of artworks, thousands of square meters. And I was so touched that I said, I have to bring this somehow to Europe. So then, like 1 year later, I came over with the mayor of Hamburg to Tokyo. We signed an LOI. I bought the land in the Hamburg Hafen City, which is this huge development project in Hamburg. And since 2022, I'm actually building a museum because TeamLab needs space, like big space. And yeah, when I came back to my first visit in Borderless, there was this one artwork called Crystal World. And this Crystal World is like, you see infinity with mirrors and LED strings. It's absolutely fascinating. And all artworks interact with you in some way. Some you can touch. You always have different sounds to each artwork, and you even have different smell to each artwork. So it's actually a multi-sensual, immersive experience. And there's one thing which, when I go with my kids to museums, what I've never seen, everybody who goes out of this museum comes out with a smile, because they have seen something which is so radically new. And I hope for all of those who haven't been seen to TeamLab, come to Hamburg and you will, I bet you come out with a smile. So Hamburg, definitely as a tech entrepreneur, you probably know my history of Zing and others. I said, I have to bring this to my hometown. This is the ideal place for it, and by creating this kind of experience, I think I can make people so touched in a way that everybody also felt in love like me. So basically, by the end of the year, I'm turning 50, and I'm going to celebrate my birthday in the museum, for sure. And it's big enough, so 6,500 square meters, 12-meter high ceilings, over 20 artworks. You can spend days in this museum. I think when I saw the last time Kyoto, I was there for over 20 hours in 5 days, and you always see something new. This is an incredible thing. It's not like Mona Lisa, where you can stare with 100 people at the same picture for the next 50 years. It is really different. And Hamburg, for me, is the ideal place to start this museum. It's not only my hometown, but I started most of my companies in Hamburg, so there's good gravity around this. And if you compare Hamburg on a landscape in Germany, so Berlin has this amazing collection of the Stiftung Preußischer Kulturbesitz, and they have 175 art spaces, museums, galleries, etc. Since we're here in Munich, you already have 90, so galleries, art spaces, museums. Hamburg has 50, so there's not so much competition. And I think this is important, that I try to put Hamburg on the map for art, so that it's also becoming an art destination where you travel to the Digital Art Museum, but also for the other things we have in Hamburg. And I have to note that this museum is 100% private financed. And in fact, it's by very far, the largest investment of my lifetime. Of course, it takes longer, it takes more money, and at some point the bank always says, okay, now it's Eigenkapital. So every week I'm sending over money to finance this biggest project. But the good thing is that the blueprint of Tokyo and Kyoto and Abu Dhabi is so successful. You have over 4 million visitors a year in Tokyo alone, and there are just 2 spaces. 4 million visitors is a massive number. It's 50% of the Louvre. So this is really good. And we in Hamburg, we always try to set low. We want to achieve 700,000 visitors. So I think this is a good base. Since it's private, I have to come up with staggering costs, with new ways of funding. So this is why it's no longer called Digital Art Museum. It's called UBS Digital Art Museum. UBS is the largest wealth manager in the world. It's also the one who sponsors UArt Basel and has the largest collection of artworks as a company. So definitely a good partner for this. So when I look at the long term for this museum, it is about, this is the art of the 21st century. And it is not about NFTs. You don't need goggles, you don't need glasses or anything else. You just go in, even with no experience, you're welcomed, because we are now in the age of experience. And everything what you have seen from Saka's video, this is artworks which are also coming to Hamburg. And we as a society, we live always on our phones, nearly every day. If we look and share our screen times, it's horror. But I want to build a bridge for bridging this real-life adventure back to the museums. And I hope that I can build this kind of bridge for getting more and more people back to the museum. And I'm so fortunate that I can host TeamLab, which is, by any critics, the absolute avant-garde. It's like the Champions League of artists compared to football. This is a big honor for us. But next to the museum, I'm also creating an art space for like 3 shows per year with upcoming digital artists like Refik Anadol, Random International, hope one day James Truel or others. So that we are really building the platform for digital art in Europe, in Germany, in Hamburg. So I invite you all to come to Hamburg. You can buy vouchers already. Vouchers is even cheaper than the tickets we sell later in the year. The good thing about the voucher is it guarantees you entrance in the first months. Since I already sold 13,000 tickets without having a museum, I hope to see you all in Hamburg very soon.
We're almost out of time, but Florian, I want you, if you look around this room, if we see this giant Stefan Balken hole here, as you look around the building, you can see that Serviceplan, which is your family's company, has a long history and a long relationship to art. And every year for the last 12 years, you've put out a magazine called 12, which I see sitting on your lap, and which you can pick up. There's a counter as you walk out. Last year, for the first time, you chose to produce this year's edition with a collective, and you chose TeamLab. And I'm curious why you chose them and what the experience was like in comparison to past experiences.
Yeah, first of all, yes, we're publishing once a year 12, which is, you could say, a DLD for a coffee table. And by the way, you are present in a historic moment where we are publishing this year's magazine for the first time. 12 is supposed to bring together creative voices, artists, people from media, tech, and whatever field, yeah. We at Serviceplan, we believe that advertising and art are different planets, but they are belonging to the same solar system, if you want to say so. And that's why we always publish our magazine together with an artist. This year we have a motto for us as a company, which is Together Unlimited, yeah. Which I personally appreciate a lot, which I think has a value and a meaning in this world currently, in particular. And to this for this motto we found TeamLab, yeah. And there is obviously several aspects which I love about TeamLab. One is this beautiful art. It's very inspiring. It's just appealing. It's wonderful. Number one. Number two is it's a collective of artists, yeah, and that fits obviously the way how we work, and what Together Unlimited wants to say in an ideal manner. And then thirdly, TeamLab jumps over the borders, the classical borders of art, into technology, into digital, and it combines many different things and creates something completely new out of it. And that's something which is motivating us here in the House of Communication a hell of a lot as well. And that's why we were very thankful to win TeamLab to create this magazine together with us. Is working easy with them? No. And they are not a bunch of commercial designers. They are an artists collective, yeah. But they are wonderful people, and the product is in my words, yeah, the art is wonderful, and that's why in the end of the day I'm very grateful to be able to work with you guys, and it was a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're officially out of time, so out of respect for the coming panelists, I'm going to take us off stage. But if you want to talk to us, we're all around. We're all happy to talk about it. This could be an endless conversation. Good luck to the next panelists, and thank you so much to the panel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marc.